Good evening, Rams. Tonight I'm joined with Denise Whisenhunt, and after a 7 out of 7 vote of approval from State Center Community College Board of Trustees, she is the next Fresno City College president. Thanks for joining me tonight, Denise, and congratulations.
Thank you so very much. I'm super excited.
Perfect. And then I have a couple questions for you. What does a president do?
What does the president do? You're responsible for all operations. Basically what you do is you create the conditions to help students succeed. So it'd be like all aspects, like learning, the educational side, the support services. That's my job, to create the conditions to help you succeed. That's what I do.
Perfect, thank you. And then what changes do you have planned for Fresno City, or any long-time goals?
In terms of long-time goals, right now, my short-term goal is to really listen to the folks. Listen to students. I love students. Listen to students, listening to classified professionals, listening to administrators, listening to the faculty to make sure that what I'm thinking is responsive to the needs that they've shared with me. So my short-term goal is to really engage in a listening tour. So I'm going to listen. So before I act, I don't want to react. I want to make sure that I listen and I'm responsive to the needs of the campus community. So that is my goal right now. Yes.
For sure. And then why do you care about this position? This question came up in our class the other day and we were just very interested.
Wow. I could answer this in so many different ways, but there are two ways. One is just the proposition of creating to provide leadership as executive officer of an institution to make sure that systems run. But really for me, it's personal. I am a Fresnan. So I know this building, I know this area, and that means a lot to me. And Fresno City College means a ton. 3 of my siblings went to Fresno City College. Went on to historically black colleges and universities. So it's like my family community college. So I'm kind of having an out-of-body experience. I'm so excited about the proposition of, taking some of the things that I've learned in my years as being a college president before and really applying it to the good work that happens. The campus is awesome already. Folks are awesome here already. But my job is to help, again, create the conditions to help them succeed.
For sure. And then another question that came up in class was, how will you regularly stay in touch with the student concerns?
Wow, a lot of different ways. I think it's important to work with the associated student government, that being the formal student voice. So there's kind of the formal approach, and then there's the informal approach. So it is very, I'm very comfortable hanging out in the quad, talking to students, listening to students. Yesterday I was in the Umoja class. I walked into the Umoja Center and just listened to them. They said, "Oh my gosh, you're going to be the college president." I said, "Well, I got to get approved." But yeah, I just think it's important from a formal and informal lens to listen to students. And that's something that I love to do. I love to see student performances. I love to be a part of the campus community because students are it. I often try to make sure I make connections at the beginning of a semester with students and really get to create a rapport with the student body president, but other students too, athletes. That's the coolest part of my job. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And then one of the harder questions that we have for you to answer is, what is the importance of the diversity of the campus, and what is your stance on promoting or having DEI on our college campus?
Making sure that we have spaces where all exceed is an important part and a value set of, I think, higher education. If we think about the master plan of higher education in California, it is one begat with 3 different systems, right? We have the University of California, which admits about the top, I think, 11.5% of the graduating seniors. You have the Cal State system, which admits about 33%. And then you have this thing that's awesome called the community colleges, which is to admit the top 100% of the students. And so that commitment to access and equity is systemic and embedded in the work that we do every day in community colleges. So when we talk about notions of inclusion, making sure that voices are at the table, people that have been disproportionately impacted, that just really matters because it's really about economic mobility for all of us. The American dream is begat for all of us. So I just think that's just really important. And that ties into your question, I think, yes.
For sure. And then something that was brought up in the meeting actually that we saw was the persistent rates and how Fresno City's persistent rates aren't as high as the other colleges. So what is your plan to boost students' success in their persistent in college?
Again, I wouldn't want to make assumptions as to how we got there. I want to kind of listen and assess to learn some of the things that we're doing. I know that Fresno City College is an amazing community college, and so I'd really want to better understand why is that the case. When I looked at the persistent rates, it's just a little, it's somewhat minor, though minor, there's no such thing as minor. But let me be clear that I think that looking at how our students are doing as part of this process, getting other voices engaged in that is really important. And if you think about how our students are doing at Fresno City College, like any other college in the entire world can always do better, but really there's been some phenomenal work, intentional work from the instructional side, from the administrative services side, from the academic affairs side to get us to where we are. So I'm very excited to be a part of it.
For sure. And then 2 more questions. What is your biggest takeaway from this meeting, like the board meeting as a whole?
Oh my gosh. It just affirms how amazing Fresno is. It really does. It's just the commitment of the State Center to really care about students and want the best for their students is emblematic in what you saw today. And so that just affirmed it. The fact that we looked at those indicators today, when we looked and it was just on the wall, what can we do, shows the intentionality and the intentional planning that's actually happening to make those decisions that are important to help you succeed, to help him succeed. And so that's part of, I think, the magic of the district. So that's what I think.
For sure. And then last question, a little lighthearted one. How were you like as a college student? And how do you think that implements your experience and outlook for college, or for being a college
person? I think that I had the blessing and the opportunity to be in spaces where people saw me, where I was able to be involved, like you're involved. And that really helped lend what I think is important when I think about the work that needs to be done with students. So the fact that you're involved in things where people know your name on campus, kind of, when you're at home, it's like, oh, I gotta go to school because someone actually cares. And so I think that really informs how I lead, because I think I really do ask myself often, would I do that? I wouldn't do that. Or would I put that in my mind, because being student-centered is something that I really value, and so that's just kind of how I see it.
For sure. Well, thank you again for your time, and congratulations. We can't wait to see you around campus.
I'm very excited.